We got Farmall 45A four-wheel drive tractor, and the problem we have is with the shuttle shift. There seems to be nothing. It doesn't do anything, and the tractor won't move. Won't go in forward or reverse. So we don't know exactly what the problem is, but we're going to try to figure that out. So I'm assuming it's something internal because the external linkages look good. Goes in to the transmission case down here. So I don't have a manual and I don't know exactly what I'm doing, and I couldn't find any YouTube videos on it. So I'm going to try to figure it out myself and make a video. So first thing I thought I would do, which is easy, is I'm going to pop this little cover off where the shifting forks are under here. There's 6 bolts holding it on, and now it's tight, painted on, so I'm going to get a chisel and pop that off, and I'm going to see what's underneath. I took the cover off where the shift forks are, but you can't really see much in there. Where our real problem lies is down here, where this is where the shuttle shift goes into the transmission case, and you can see there's a one into something, and there's a roll pin in there, and the roll pin is just broken off. So that's where our problem lies. But now we need to split the tractor right here, I'm guessing, to get in there to figure out where that roll pin came from. So on this side you can see we took the fender off and the foot plate, all pretty straightforward stuff, just nuts and bolts kind of stuff. Now we need to go around to the other side and get the other fender off and all this stuff too. The other side's slightly more complicated because we're gonna have to do all the hydraulic lines and all that mess. Oh, and then we also need to they're gonna have to take the drive shaft apart for the four-wheel drive, which isn't that hard to do. It's a couple bolts, and then the snap ring, there's a collar that'll let that come apart fairly easy. So guess we're gonna get to work on that stuff, and then we'll check back in when we have something interesting to show you. So we're pretty much ready to unbolt the 2 halves, which is going to happen right here. I mean, starting this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, and this bolt. So we got, on the right side, we have the fender off, footrest off. We undid the hydraulic lines, brake lines, wiring harness, and this right here was the suction line for the hydraulic. That was one of the bigger pain in the asses to get off, and we're draining the oil out there. And now we're gonna get, we slid the drive shaft apart for the four-wheel drive. And now we're going to get both sides blocked up, unbolted, and slide it apart. Alright, so now we're getting ready to split this thing apart. And we actually did have to take this top cover off because this nut that was on here and this stud is part of what holds us together. So we got all the bolts out, we cracked it apart, we got it supported by jacks, and we're just getting ready to roll it apart, and we'll come back. We got this spread apart here, and inside, try to get a good shot on this, right here. This fits up in here, and then our shaft came through from the outside. We saw our broken roll pin that went right in there, so that's why we're not shifting forward. You can see the bits of the broken roll pin right in there. So basically, we get a roll pin and we can put it back together. All right, the next day, and we're back starting to reassemble our 45A shuttle shift. You can see we got, here's the lever right here, we got in, and then we go inside. It goes up into here, and the hole, we need to put the roll pin in there, and that's what was our broken part we need to replace. So we'll put the roll pin in, and then we'll start getting the two halves put back together. So we're getting ready to put our halves back together, and I thought maybe it'd be worth mentioning that this is kind of in my mind, a delicate procedure here. So we got to get all the shafts and bearings lined up in the holes where they need to go, right? So I lubed everything up really good, and now we're going to very gently roll the pieces back together and try to get everything lined up perfect and not force anything, because we don't want to break anything putting it back together here. So one thing I forgot to mention, and almost forgot to do, was these two surfaces need to bond to have an oil-tight seal. So we're going to use this flange sealant. I got this from my local Case International dealer. Probably paid 4 times as much as I should have for it. Should have went to Napa, but I'm just going to apply a continuous bead here, and when those come together, it'll make a little gasket and hopefully seal that up and have no oil leaks. 2 pieces bolted back together. Probably a little excess on the gasket maker there, but what I wanted to say was I spent about 20 minutes getting that last ½ inch back together, just because I wanted to wiggle and make sure that it came together on its own and I wasn't forcing it together with the bolts, because again, you don't want to force it together and break something. So like I said, it took me 20 minutes, half an hour to get that wiggled up. I was pushing back and forth on the wheels, and I'd stick a bar in here, and you could turn the shaft a little bit to get it to the gears, because what you need to do is get the gears to match back where they need to go, right? So, but if you do wiggle enough and pull just a little bit, put a hair tension on it with the bolts, it will come together. And if you're pulling on those bolts hard enough where you really got to put some force on it, it's too much, and you just need to back them off and wiggle it together on its own. It should be able to come up all on its own without using the bolts. So just thought I'd mention that again, because you don't want to break anything. We're going to check in on the reassembly process here. So we coming along pretty good. We got the shifting forks back on here. We had to do it twice because it didn't get it lined up quite right the first time. But it shifts good. Goes into all the gears. On the other side, we got the footrest back on, clutch pedals, return springs hooked back up, the PTO linkage is hooked up, and the brake. This side's all ready to go except for the fender. And so just keep working at it, I guess. So here hopefully is the conclusion of our Farmall 45A shuttle shift repair video. We got everything back together except for the fenders, and we're gonna get on and fire it up and see what happens. second gear, reverse. Oh, and look at that, it moves. Shift into forward. Oh, it goes in forward too. Try it in high range. High range reverse. Neutral. Let's just for fun try out 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure we got all the gears. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, well, everything works. So we'll put the fenders on, and we're gonna we'll give Josh the tractor and send him to work. If anybody watches this, I hope this helps you out, and if you have the same problem, then enjoy.